IBS, you may have noticed that eating fatty or greasy foods or a rich meal might leave you with bloating, cramping, running to the bathroom. This video is going to explain why. So we're not just talking about greasy junk food, we're talking about fat in general, including the healthy kinds like olive oil, avocado, full fat yogurt. If it's high in fat and you've got IBS, your gut may well react to it. Let's explain what's happening. When you eat fat, your digestive system has to work significantly harder than it does with carbohydrates or protein, because fat takes a long time to break down and digest, which means your stomach empties so much more slowly. You'll probably recognise that feeling of a heavy meal just sitting there, feeling like it's going nowhere. And that's because essentially it isn't. That prolonged sitting and stretching of the stomach is what causes that uncomfortable, heavy bloating that can come on quite quickly after a fatty meal. Now, in someone without IBS, that slow emptying is noticeable, but it's manageable. When you've got IBS, your gut is hypersensitive and it reads that pressure and stretching as a much bigger problem than it actually is. The nerves in your gut are sending amplified signals, so what might feel like mild fullness to someone else can feel genuinely painful or urgent to you. There's also something called the gastrocolic response, which is involved here. So every time you eat, your colon naturally begins to contract and move things along to make room. Fat triggers this response much more powerfully than anything else. And in people with IBS, research has shown that that response is exaggerated, meaning your colon reacts much more strongly to fat than it would in someone who hasn't got IBS. That exaggerated response is what leads to that urgency, that cramping, and in many cases that sudden need to rush to the bathroom not long after eating. Fat also triggers the release of a hormone known as cholecystokinin, or CCK, which signals to your digestive system that fat is present and needs to be processed. This hormone plays a role in how much bile your body releases into your small intestine to help break that fat down. For people with IBS, that release of bile can in itself cause cramping and loose stools, particularly if you tend towards the diarrhea end of IBS. What's interesting is that research has specifically found this effect is more pronounced in women, partly because CCK is influenced by the menstrual cycle. It's also worth knowing that fatty meals tend to slow down the movement of gas through your small intestine. So not only are you dealing with the stretching and the pressure from the food itself, the gas is also getting trapped and building up, which adds to the bloating and discomfort. So if you've noticed that a nice meal out or a Friday night takeaway affects your IBS symptoms, the fat content of what you're eating is very possibly a significant part of why.